Welcome back to Bronze League! Well, Silver League heroes. You've heard of Cyril, but can I introduce to you, from Z-Temps in the blue, it's FERRAL up against another Terran, which is not surprising, though only mildly disappointing, FranzSword. We have two creative ideas for how to wall off early on. FERRAL went with the laissez-faire, sort of, I guess I'll just put my depot on over there and we'll deal with it later sort of situation. Whereas FranzSword goes with the I've been hurt too many times before and walls make me feel safe early wall off. So, both players locking things down as we kick off the macro. A second barracks is the choice. Thank you, Ariel. And make sure, if somehow this is so incredible and amazing, and this was titled my personal best macro game from one of our heroes here, which I'm excited to see, make sure to like and subscribe because it'll put meaning in my life. Make the difference today. Two racks opener. Another command. Well, orbital command is on the way. Second command center and a bunker on the low ground for FranzSword. The bunker before unit composition for maximum defensive safety. And another depot using the FERRAL strategy of putting it wherever the hell you want. Now the factory on the way. Only one orbital command on the field. It looks like despite the wall, will he? No! He gets gunned down. The SCV will slip in and somehow slip by the border patrol, but out of a sense of just intense respect, it will stop moving and allow the Marines to finish it off because they don't want him to be punished. How kind. And now another barracks. FERRAL with Reapers, and there's a command center. That's what it looks like, in case you've never seen one before. Now the SCV going down the ramp, and you know what it's gonna do next, which would make one of us, because I have absolutely no idea. Meanwhile, the Reaper timing. Yes, there might be a bunker at the front. Yes, Reapers might be a questionable idea in general for someone with lukewarm APM. Yes. No. That's it. That's all I got. The SCV? Well, it's here. It must do something. What is it gonna do? It's coming back for another pass. I think it's on the same hotkey. Indeed it is. The Reapers jump up off to the side. And that barracks under heavy fire. Let's go to the FranzSword action cam as he responds. Yep. Oh no, those Reapers far too scary. Even to themselves as the grenade drops. He pulls the Marines out of the bunker. Now trying to take them down. Another grenade. What micro? The SCV distracting on the low ground. You forgot about it. But FERRAL didn't. Meanwhile, the SCV is being slaughtered. The micro. And I will remind you that this was FERRAL's best macro game ever, as he banks 1,125 minerals. And only great macro players bank that many minerals. That's a professional tip. Moving on. Now the Reapers looking for more grenades. Bounces the Marines off to the corner. Oh, so much damage. Terrible. 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 And more grenades. Reapers. Microed away. Back to the low ground. And finally taken down. With only... And that means FERRAL skyrockets to an 18 supply deficit with such intense Reaper micro. And now we'll transition into the next phase of his build, which is anything else. We're gonna cancel. This isn't Nexus Wars. You don't need to line up your production timings. Though you can if you want. It's more fun that way, I guess. Meanwhile, now we build.
Additional supply depots required.
You want a piece of me, boy? SCV ready. SCV ready.
And thus concludes our macro dance break. With both players dead even on supply. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We now have a smattering of upgrades, a double depot, some starports out there. It's not entirely clear whether FranzSword knows exactly how to maneuver his units across the map. He appears to be walling off the mineral wall location. But he also walled the front, so you know what? Cover all your bases. The TPM will begin to raise 2 turrets in production. Meanwhile, an armory. Double NG bay for Feral. And it's time for the... Does he have stim? No. Does he have combat shield? Forget about it. Does he have 1-1? Eventually. But he does have, like, 16 Marines, a couple siege tanks, and a whole lot of gumption. So, we will see if that translates into damage. One thing for, well, FranzSword now, building a single medevac. Got some more turrets on the way. Let's go to the Feral action cam.
Ready for dust off.
Well, on the bright side, Feral does actually have hotkeys for his army in any way. So he's got that going for him. We gotta be able to click on them so we can see the details here. Meanwhile, FranzSword only for his production, but you know, having control groups at all is a great step of some sort. Another, wow, bringing the reinforcements in via boosted medevac. Unfortunately, since now he's taking his micro turn, that means Feral will be banking up money for his next macro turn. Yes, the classic mini-map scans are whipped out. Nothing off to the north side, but the army is spotted as the siege will begin. And place your bets. This is not rhetorical. How many minerals will he have by the end of this assault? Another scan. Also done via the mini-map. An impressive accuracy, I will say. Unfortunately, this when you scan via the mini-map, you can't see what you're scanning. It's not like a metaphor. It's something that Well, the siege tanks were shut down, which is great. No, you're allowed to have more than... No. Okay. So just because it's red doesn't mean... No, it is... Job's finished! Well... That's... Yep. Well, combat shield not on the way, but we do have, well, the upgrades for Feral. He's got +2 attack, +2 armor, +1 mech weapons as well for his siege tanks. Meanwhile, FranzSword is also building up these players so even on supply, but a massive drop! 4 Marines and a sieged tank in the main. Down goes the Liberator trying to get on top of the other tank. Target fire is good. Yep, that's still... Yeah, he scans to make sure those Marines don't lose track of where that tank's going. Gets up close and personal. Medevac healing as much as it can. Boom, down it goes. What a snipe by FranzSword, doing dozens of minerals of damage. Meanwhile, the counter scan. Feral plummets to 94 supply. with Siege Tank maneuvered via medevac as it requires that first class treatment. And then unsieges and moves normally because that's kind of unwieldy in general. The SCVs. Job's finished. Don't believe. Oh, that. Well, I don't think he's running out of minerals, so. There are scans. I'm not honest. Well, okay. When I hear the scan noise, that doesn't really tell me anything because that would require there to be some sort of method to the madness. But we're lacking in method, it feels. A Widow Mine? I don't know if that was intentional, but Siege Tank taken down. Oh, he's gonna go forward. If only, well, yep. Spotted. Oh, beautiful. But the Widow Mine manages to burrow. He's gonna go try to boost on top, but the micro switches off to the side. That's not, oh, he's stuck down. Oh, so sneaky. He may be able to snipe off the tank. No! It's a disaster. The tank lives. And that means he'll be able to hold. Now he's just gonna send the rest. He comes on down. The Marines on it. We've got +3 infantry weapons, +3 infantry armor, and of course, usually accompanying it, stim and combat shield for Ferral. We're looking at 3/3 upgrades, which will be a 5 upgrade advantage against FranzSword, who is laser focused at breaking out of his base. Okay. Oh, well, that could have gone better. Oh, the move command, the micro, the stims, both players microing, which is certainly one of the options. The APMs in the dozens. And now, as we all know, it is far too scary to just simply walk across the map. So he loads up into a medevac and heads across as well. Job's finished. I feel like you've been on break for most of this. Well, these SCVs in reserve. The night shift after the Marines are slaughtered. Or I mean the SCVs are slaughtered. Ferral with quite a... Well, oh no, he's microing! And the medevac doesn't quite make it out of there. He figured out the mineral wall, though. FranzSword will be expanding to the low ground and adding in the critical concussive shell upgrade. Several tanks are house tanks here, boxed into the... Yep, they're stuck. Yep, well, let's just pretend like that was the intent. Good move. Good recovery. Ferral dropping the mules, gathering those delectable minerals. Meanwhile, both players with several house tanks. So, Ferral with 3 of them stuck in the main. I believe 2 to 3. It's unclear how many house tanks and how many are just conscientious objectors here for FranzSword, but at least half a dozen tanks are currently trapped in the main base of either side. Now, the upgrade advantage, Ferral has +3 infantry weapons and armor. FranzSword has now just started his +1 armor to complement the +1 weapons. We got scans. Yep. Wait, who's scanning? Okay, that's FranzSword. Also scanning to the top center. We even have high-sec auto-tracking and building on. All right, here we go. 2 ships passing in the night, but the siege tanks weigh anchor. But the Marines and Marauders were about to see... Oh, no, he's microing. But upgrades are incredibly good, no matter how many times you right-click patent. Yep, those are Marines and Marauders. Confirmed. Counter. Scan. And Ferral takes a resounding victory in that battle, as long as his Marines and Marauders are firing with a 5 upgrade advantage, it is almost impossible to lose. Though I'm sure he'll give it his best effort. Or the scan. I have no idea what the other scan. Interesting. Just whipping him out on the medevac. I don't know what his mouse sensitivity is. The 360 no scope scans. Both players are in vision range of one another. It's tense. Okay, well, the battle begins. But upgrades again. Thankfully for Feral, he did not micro at all, and that— No, where are you going? Come back here. Okay. Thankfully for Feral, he allowed his units to continue forward. Siege tanks are still very good. Despite the up... Yeah, that's a siege tank. Confirmed. Feral with 5,600 minerals, 1,800 gas. FranzSword with less. The blue ball upgrade. Oh, funny you ask. The interference matrix upgrade used on Ravens to potentially scramble siege tanks or other mechanical units and prevent them from attacking for that time. Which, one, much credit here to Feral for understanding what that upgrade does and when to use it. Now, personally, I have my doubts as to how much effectiveness we're going to see from the Ravens, but strategically, a solid move, especially to break a siege tank position. Well. Yeah, FranzSword still on 1-1. There's also +2 mech weapons for Feral, but he doesn't have any ship weapons yet, so. The beauty of this for FranzSword is he does have an armory. It's just, he has not used it. The standoff continues so far. FranzSword has lost 2,000 more resources. 101 Marines to 68. Feral with a 50 supply lead, which means we should be coming up on the end here. I'm sure. With a 4 upgrade advantage, a 50 supply lead, a solid unit composition, surely this is the cusp of victory here for our off-brand Feral. Mule is dropped to repair the siege tank. FranzSword utilizing some mid-level strategies. The army spotted. Siege tank trying to sneak past. The house tanks have escaped the base. At least from Feral. The scan, ooh, a +2 siege tank. The Ravens out in front, unfortunately. Down goes one. He's gonna drop down the auto turrets, which is certainly one of the abilities that they have. Thank you, Ashton. The scans, counter scans. The battle for vision continues. That tank definitely within range. Oh, and a scan! There's still the siege tank. Oh, but some Marines wandering into the fray from both sides. You gotta corral. Oh, no! That's a lot of damage. The scans again. Another drop loaded up. I think it was spotted, based on pretty much the entire army moving to intercept it. Knocked out of the sky. The Vikings, he's very... Yep, he got him. He certainly got that drop. Meanwhile, the army moving out, but Feral has built quite a wall over on the opposite side of things. What a scan! Spots the army. Kind of looks like he was looking for the base, but he found an army out there. Now gonna try to chase it down. The Viking Marine Army, 11111 upgrades. Hits the deck. Not all the Vikings could make it, but Feral should be able to clean this up with the +3 Marines. Not quite able to pick it all off, but yeah, the scans will continue down the center. Liberators! What a play. Liberators to break the siege line. A strong choice. We'll actually pick off some of the tanks. For some reason, the other tanks were unsieged. Unclear why, but it will save him for now. Oh, anti-armor missile. Yep, it hit. Most of the rest of the army off to the north side. The Vikings will take down, it appears, will make it. Every single Raven is taken down before using any interference matrices, but they have created quite a threat. The scan, the counter scan. Liberator. Yep. And he goes for it, but the tanks. More Marines, that's a lot of damage. 8,000 minerals, 33, oh my, okay, well. Interesting choice to go forward at that moment. But it's not about how many men you lose, it's about how many you can replace them with. And Feral has quite a reserve with which to do so. Job's finished! Woo! Overtime! I don't... No! What are you doing? Oh. Job's finished. Okay, well. The siege line is set up. And now we're going to be doing some mining from the gold base. Now, I don't want to mine it too fast because then you'll run out of minerals. Which, what? That was obviously a siege tank drop. That flew right into the Vikings. As you guys probably realized. Zoned out by the missile turrets, and there it goes. And now it's time for the fusion core, because this is Bronze League Heroes, and all roads eventually lead to Battlecruisers, as these inflatable pool noodles of players slap each other around with their surprisingly wet yet ineffective attacks. Eventually, one of them gets irate enough in order to reach for one of those, you like whip, do you have a towel? You know, like the towel, you kind of like wet towel and then, you know what I'm saying? It's not really appropriate. It's considered to be a dick move, but that's why we have Battlecruisers. And that's what we're doing. Battlecruiser on the way. Some scans, just, okay, I give up. Like, all right, yep, they're scanning. It appears both of them were scanning. It's unclear the breadth of the scans, but they did get an idea of where the opposing... Oh, nope. Ooh, okay, Venn diagram of freedom will be... Yep. Oh, he comes in for another round. The double siege. Yep, those are still liberators. He's gonna move forward, and the little beatsies of the siege tank's gonna try to scramble out of the way. Micro's back. FranzSword still has maxed out his upgrades at +1. 3 Battlecruisers at a time. And Ravens with interference matrix. Quite a solid counter to the Battlecruisers. realizing that, oh wait, the Vikings. Now this is happening. All right, it does appear that less Vikings do not beat more Vikings. All right, jot that down. And the Battlecruiser, no Yamato cannon. Okay. The scan spots the Battlecruisers now. What is the answer? As the Battlecruisers have arrived. Do we go forward, or do we go back? Where are you going with those? Ah, yes, freeing up supply. With the medevacs, the Liberators trying to out-micro the Marines, but the Marines, elusive as always. What a dodge. Very sneaky. The micro. Intensive. Oh, down, unfortunately, down goes the medevac, but incredible micro by Feral to outmaneuver those Liberators. Unfortunately, not as incredible in the evacuation. And the medevac. No, you need to zoom out so you can click for like how you scan. Okay, well, no Yamato cannon means the Battlecruisers unfortunately are being microed here, which means the medevac may survive. Nope. Despite FranzSword's best efforts, he does take out the medevac. As the Battlecruisers haltingly. Oh, now the trail of laser batteries being chased across the map. There's still some and into the siege tanks. Smart servos, certainly one of the choices you can make at this stage. The 3 Battlecruisers being intensely microed by FranzSword. Still at 1 upgrades across the board. This SCV, jobs finished. And because, of course, FranzSword did pick the Battlecruiser card, means that Feral is unable to build Battlecruisers of his own. A smart move in the pick ban phase of the game in order to open up this potential game-winning opportunity. Ah, yes, the fortress to the north. Well, the Vikings are trying to outmaneuver it, but I do believe Feral has locked that down about as tight as it's gonna get. The Vikings will skirt by the Vikings of the opposition. Feral a little less diligent on the upgrades for his mech than he was on his bio units, of which, well, there's still 52 Marines. They're just kind of around. Most of them are just hanging out in the main base, anticipating a potentially tactical dunk. The supply's dead even. Still anyone's game. Another SCV rallied out for continued scouting. Ignore this. Interference matrix! It's happening! Unfortunately, the Vikings can still shoot. A jump! He scans, he sees the Marines, he sees the turrets, he sees the Ravens, and he says, this scan was just for funsies. I was going, bro. And unfortunately, the turret is actually getting in the way of the Marines. The Marines have quite an upgrade advantage, but they are firing at capital ships, which means it's going to be difficult. Thankfully for Feral, FranzSword is microing his Battlecruisers, which is actually actively hurting him. Because much like most optimum Terran builds, despite how they like to talk about Terran, the best builds are the ones you can do with effectively 0 APM, like right-clicking Battlecruisers across the map. And somehow these Battlecruisers actually survive and are starting to rip across the main base. Yamato cannon is far too much of an expense to be expected here. Here come the Vikings, though. Tactical jump still about 30 seconds out. And the Vikings will eventually take down the cruisers. So, here we are. Feral now with the gold base. FranzSword making a massive breakthrough. +2 upgrades. His first +2 upgrade at the 30-minute mark. +2 mech plating. A strong choice, unironically. Oh my. Curious positioning. Still no Yamato cannon. Unclear whether he knows it exists. Good interference matrix, but the Vikings. A orbital command. Where are you going? Okay. He has lifted all of his orbitals. I'm sure totally on purpose. Yes. The best macro game I have ever played. As you can see, the macro and the micro are somewhat conflated here, as every single orbital command. Now, the real loss here is the inability to scan. Yes, orbital strike inbound. Now, get your scans! Get the scans! You gotta scan! We're doing some long distance mining to the one orbital on the other side. Meanwhile, FranzSword. Okay, so the orbitals here at the center, the siege tanks. Yeah, definitely drawing. They're gonna run out of ammunition anytime. So, very soon. And the maintenance cost of the siege tanks and the Vikings, it just add up. So, it can never be. It's an alternative strategy. Oh wow. An entire invasion fleet of Vikings shows up out of nowhere, though. There are 21 Vikings. 2-1 upgrades, now working on ship weapons 3. The orbitals sit back down. Now, Ferrell somehow maintains a supply lead. There's still some Marines, but they're kind of... Well, this is happening. All right. Yep. Now, as you can see, both players are... Yep. The Battlecruiser target fire, Marines, Vikings. Some siege tanks are also involved, kind of tangentially. But the Viking wars continue. Siege tank 16 kills, 14. Over here we got 2, 12. I don't think any of the more successful siege tanks survived that long. But Ferrell, still with quite a supply lead. Such as it is. Looks like FranzSword was clearly inspired by Ferrell's more unorthodox mining strategies and is going to utilize some of them himself. The Viking count is so damn high. The Marines will stem forward, which will expedite their obliteration by the siege tanks. And now it's time to land on said tanks and lose all the Vikings. Oh, well, it appears that still more Vikings, especially with similar upgrades, do beat less Vikings. Now, the Vikings are trying to land, but the siege tanks are actually body blocking them. Vikings are surprisingly good against siege tanks because they're bonus to mechanical. And everyone dies at the end. A single Viking will live, but here come the Marines streaming into the gap. And Ferrell, well, we've been there and back again. It started with a big Marine attack, and I'm not gonna say end, but it's now another big Marine attack. But remember the house tanks! They've been waiting 30 minutes for their opportunity, and it's their time to shine. 3, 4 siege tanks in the main base await Ferrell's incursion. So... And he doesn't really have high ground vision. The depots are not always coming up the ramp. The house tanks are ready. Though this might be critical damage. Though it also might not. It's really hard to tell. Alright, another siege tank. But those 3-3 Marines. Tank still finding a lot of kills. Yep, he's still going. He's gonna get the armories. Yeah, the siege tank still... Yeah, he's just eating it. He's real hungry. Some more siege tanks. There's another tank. But the upgrades are real good here, so that's... Oh, that might be too much. Siege tank's getting so much damage done. There's... Yep. They're still going. That siege tank just barely out of range here. Real unfortunate. Well, the reinforcements will accidentally scout some more. The siege tanks rally out into the Marines. Gonna pull back now. He's falling back. The house tank, 13 kills. Still holding. And, well, it appears we're not done yet. And he's going in the stim, the micro. He's going for the final tank, and with it, victory. Maybe? Ah, yes. 3 uncloaked Banshees here to engage the Marines. A bold move. Let's see if it works out for him. It does not. But the micro. Yep, those are Banshees. And now, approximately 1 fuck-ton more Marines on the way across the map. A few dozen more. Who's scanning? I have no idea. What? I heard just trying to get... Might not know what a replay is. FranzSword with 10,000 minerals, but almost no gas in the bank. As he rebuilds the barracks. Feral. Unfortunately, there's not a planetary or anything. Still building mass Banshee. Now we have a fusion core for Feral as well. There's still... Now, if he had better than 1-1 upgrades, I think FranzSword has a chance to turn it around. But he only discovered +2 plating by the end. Probably hasn't unlocked the others yet. Feral currently has, well, most of his SCVs are idle, which is very progressive of him. Meanwhile, the medevacs will be outflanked by the missile turrets, but both will survive. Marine production has begun yet again. In the top right corner of the map, because we are not done. SCV. Well, the siege tanks are still there. Is that like a... What is that? There's like a thing... There's like a... What the fuck is that? There's a weird fucking cat outside. Ah! What the... Yeah, that seems about right for this game. Cloak is on the way. FranzSword trying to restart the tech tree. Big Gabe down here trying to get some damage done. FranzSword. Oh, we got the... He was reminded of the siege tanks by the unlucky SCV. Which is unfortunate. And now... The options being narrowed down. The only real poor choice left is to load up everything into the medevacs and fly over the Marines. Otherwise, Feral may, despite his best efforts, be able to claim victory. A scan. A stim. A bunch of Marines. And the last bet. Well played. Well played. And a short 40 minutes later, it just kind of ends. And then, how much longer are we in the replay? All right. Just wonder how much longer he stuck around to enjoy the victory. GG! What an experience from these less experienced players. Clearly, two different styles. One player really focusing on the upgrades and the strategy, the other barely focusing at all. But quite a variety. We saw FranzSword at 118 actions per minute. Quite a blazing speed compared to FERRAL'S 89, but FERRAL comes out ahead. And who would have thought? I mean, we did kind of expect it. He did send it in, but... TVT at its most feral. Indeed. So hopefully you enjoyed. Like and subscribe and Patreon and all that. And maybe you can truly be a Bronze League hero.